Absolutely. Here's a long-form, expanded YouTube script at approximately 2,000 words, with deeper analysis, smoother transitions, and longer paragraphs while keeping your voice and energy intact. What's good, family? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're breaking down the Quad Webb and King breakup, and I need y'all to lock in for this one, because this is not the story you've been hearing. Social media already made its decision. The blogs already chose their villain. The cast has already started circling the wagons. But when you actually slow down, examine the timeline, look at the documented statements, and separate emotion from fact, the narrative starts to look very different. The headlines say Married to Medicine star confirms split. Dr. Heavenly calls King attention-seeking. Fans are saying he wanted clout. Others are saying he couldn't handle the IVF process. And as usual, the internet is doing what it does best, reacting before analyzing. But here's the real question. Is King actually the villain here? Or are we watching a carefully protected narrative play out in real time? Let's break this down from the beginning. On February 2nd, 2026, TMZ published Quad's official breakup statement. It was polished, diplomatic, carefully crafted. The kind of statement that sounds like it went through a PR team before it ever hit the public. It described the split as mutual, said they were moving forward with clarity and purpose, and framed everything as two mature adults who simply grew apart. Clean, controlled, damage managed. But that is not what King was saying. Before Quad's statement dropped, King had already responded to a fan on Instagram in late January. Someone commented that they didn't think he and Quad were together anymore, and King replied directly, "I can confirm that I left that situation." That sentence is critical. He didn't say we decided. He didn't say it wasn't working. He didn't say we grew apart. He said, "I left." That's decisive. That's ownership. That's a man making it clear that the choice was his. And when another fan said Quad was lucky to have him, King responded, "Her luck ran out." Now, that line made people uncomfortable. It's strong, but when you analyze it instead of reacting emotionally, it sounds less like bitterness and more like frustration. It sounds like a man who believes he was undervalued. A man who feels he brought something substantial to the table and wasn't fully appreciated for it. Then came the comment that really stirred the pot. When someone implied the relationship might have been for the show, King posted, "I am not an actor. Maybe it's in my future." That statement wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was intentional. "I am not an actor" in the context of reality television means what you saw was me. I wasn't performing, I wasn't playing a role, I wasn't manufacturing reactions for camera time. And if what you're hearing now doesn't match what you saw from me consistently on screen, then maybe the portrayal isn't lining up with reality. He eventually deleted the comments, but the screenshots were already circulating. The message had been delivered. "I left. Keep my name honest." That's where the narrative war began. Now, let's talk about the part that doesn't get enough attention, the dramatic shift in tone from Dr. Heavenly. When King first appeared in season 11, Dr. Heavenly praised him heavily. She called him intelligent, mild-mannered, very well-spoken. She said he handled Quad like she needed to be handled. She publicly supported the relationship and positioned him as a great match for her friend. That wasn't neutral commentary, that was endorsement. Fast forward to February 2026, the moment King clarifies that he left the relationship, suddenly Dr. Heavenly is on a podcast calling him attention-seeking. She questions his motives, she implies he might have been drawn to Quad for fame or platform. So let's ask the obvious question, what changed? Did King suddenly become less intelligent, less mild-mannered, less well-spoken? Or did the relationship end in a way that disrupted the preferred storyline? Here's another detail that matters. Dr. Heavenly stated that King and Quad had already been broken up for months before the public announcement. If that's true, then King wasn't breaking news prematurely. He wasn't blindsiding anyone. He was correcting the narrative before it was formally framed as mutual. When he posted "keep my name honest and don't use your friend," that was not random subtweet energy. That was a pointed response to what he perceived as loyalty over objectivity. It was a man saying, don't let your friendship distort the truth. That's important because reality TV ecosystems are powerful. Caste alliances matter, long-term friendships shape public perception, and when one person leaves a relationship, especially with someone deeply embedded in the cast, the narrative can shift quickly. When he was with Quad, he was praised. When he left, he was questioned. That pattern deserves attention. Now let's move to what actually broke the relationship down, the IVF process. By season 12, King and Quad were deep into fertility treatments, and King expressed concerns on camera before any breakup announcement ever happened. That's key. He said, the IVF has definitely taken a toll on the relationship. He asked, when does it end? Is there a point where we say enough is enough? Those are not selfish questions. Those are relationship questions. Those are sustainability questions. They began dating in May 2023. Within their first year, they were already in consultations. By year 2, they were in full IVF cycles. That's intense. That's emotionally draining. That's financially expensive. And that kind of pressure can consume a relationship if there isn't strong foundational time beforehand. King already has a daughter. Multiple sources confirm having more children wasn't his initial priority before meeting Quad, but he participated fully. He attended appointments, he funded treatments, he showed up. When he said, if we get the results we're seeking, it will definitely be worth it. If not, I could have bought another car. People twisted that into materialism, but context matters. He runs a luxury car business. He was speaking from a financial reality perspective. IVF is extremely expensive. That's not cold, that's honest. And let's not ignore the fact that he was making major financial contributions elsewhere. He paid for her Paris-themed birthday party. He gifted her a white Rolls-Royce and Louis Vuitton luggage. Those aren't small gestures. So when he asks whether IVF is consuming their entire relationship, that's not a man avoiding responsibility. That's a man asking whether the relationship still exists outside of the medical process. There's a difference. Another overlooked detail, after more than 2 years together, they never moved in together. That's significant. You're building a family, you're investing emotionally and financially into creating a child, but you're not sharing a household. That suggests unresolved questions about compatibility, daily life integration, and long-term structure. IVF amplifies whatever foundation already exists. If cracks are there, pressure makes them wider. King's concerns weren't new. They were documented on camera before the breakup. Now let's talk about Key West. During the season 11 trip, a confrontation escalated between King and Quad's ex-husband, Dr. Gregory. According to multiple accounts, Gregory allegedly told Quad to shut up in a disrespectful manner. King intervened. The situation escalated. Production stepped in. A police report was filed. Gregory confirmed he filed it. He later stated he didn't press charges but was upset. There have been claims, not independently verified, that King faced consequences following the incident. Whether those consequences were legal, professional, or filming related, what's clear is this: King defended Quad publicly and took on the fallout. That matters. When you combine that with the IVF investment and financial contributions, the image becomes more complex than attention-seeking ex. There is a civil breach of contract case involving King's business in Fulton County. It's commercial, it's business-related. It is not a criminal conviction. It is not fraud. But online narratives often escalate civil disputes into criminal insinuations. That distinction matters. However, when news broke that Quad and Kirk had split, it came packaged in the familiar tone of celebrity PR. The official announcement described the breakup as mutual, mature, and grounded in clarity. It framed the separation as two adults moving forward with grace and understanding. It was polished, controlled, carefully worded, the kind of statement designed to protect everyone involved. But before that official version hit major outlets, Kirk had already spoken, and he did so in a way that shifted the balance of power. When a fan suggested that he and Quad were no longer together, Kirk responded directly, "I can confirm that I left that situation." That single sentence dismantled the carefully neutral framing. He didn't say, "we decided," he didn't say, "we grew apart," he didn't use passive language. He claimed agency. He positioned himself as the one who walked away. In relationships, that distinction matters, but in reality television, it matters even more, because whoever controls the ending often controls the narrative. When he later added, "her luck ran out," the internet reacted emotionally. Some called it petty, others called it arrogant. But step back and consider what it suggests: a man who feels he contributed significantly and believes his value was underestimated. That line doesn't sound like random bitterness, it sounds like frustration layered with pride. Then came another comment that fueled speculation: "I am not an actor. Maybe it's in my future." In the context of reality TV, that statement is loaded. Saying, "I am not an actor," implies authenticity. It suggests that what viewers saw was genuine, not performed. It hints at discomfort with how events may be reframed after the fact. It signals resistance to being edited into a role he doesn't recognize. The comments were later deleted, but screenshots had already circulated. And once something enters the digital bloodstream, it doesn't disappear. The narrative battle had officially begun. One of the most fascinating aspects of this unfolding situation is Dr. Heavenly's change in tone. When Kirk first appeared, she praised him openly. She described him as intelligent, mild-mannered, well-spoken, and a good match for Quad. Her approval carried weight because of her long-standing position within the cast and her loyalty to Quad. That endorsement mattered. Fast forward to the breakup, and suddenly the tone shifts. Now questions arise about Kirk's motives. Now there are suggestions of attention-seeking behavior. Now the possibility of fame motivation enters the conversation. What changed? Did his character fundamentally transform overnight? Or did the alignment of loyalties dictate the shift in framing? In long-standing friend groups, especially ones amplified by cameras, loyalty often overrides neutrality. When a breakup occurs, alliances activate. The friend group circles the wagons, and if one party publicly asserts control over the narrative, that can feel like a threat to the ecosystem. Kirk's insistence on clarifying that he left may have disrupted the preferred storyline, and in reality TV culture, disruption is rarely welcomed. When he posted, "keep my name honest" and "don't use your friend," it wasn't random social media noise. It was a direct challenge to narrative shaping. It was a warning against loyalty-driven distortion. That's not chaos, that's defense. Let's address a piece of the conversation that tends to get glossed over: the financial dimension of this relationship. We're not talking about small gestures, we're talking about high-level investments: a luxury Paris-themed birthday celebration, a white Rolls-Royce, Louis Vuitton luggage, and participation in costly IVF treatments. Each IVF cycle can cost thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, when consultations, medication, and procedures are included. That is not casual involvement. Financial commitment at that level signals seriousness. It suggests belief in long-term partnership. It indicates willingness to invest materially in shared plans. If someone were motivated solely by visibility or fame, logic would suggest minimizing risk, not increasing it. Lavish gestures, fertility treatments, and public defense during confrontations are not typical strategies for someone chasing temporary exposure. When Kirk questioned the sustainability of IVF, asking about balance was reframed by some as hesitation. But examine the context. IVF is physically draining, emotionally taxing, and financially heavy. Asking about balance does not equal lack of commitment. It reflects concern about preserving the relationship beyond the process. And here's another detail. After more than 2 years together, they reportedly never fully merged households. That alone signals complexity. Building a family while maintaining separate living structures introduces tension. IVF amplifies whatever cracks already exist. Pressure reveals what foundation cannot sustain. During the Key West trip, tensions escalated between Kirk and Quad's ex-husband. Reports suggest that disrespectful comments were made and Kirk stepped in. The situation intensified. Production intervened. A police report was filed, though charges were not ultimately pursued. Interpretations vary, but here's the consistent thread. Kirk defended his partner publicly. In many contexts, that would be framed as protective. In the aftermath, however, the framing leaned toward escalation and controversy. In reality TV, the lens through which an action is presented determines whether it's heroic or problematic. Once a narrative tilts, everything aligns with it. Another layer emerged online, a civil business dispute involving Kirk's luxury car company. Civil, commercial, not criminal. Yet, in digital culture, nuance evaporates quickly. Civil litigation becomes insinuation. Business disagreements morph into character judgments. It's critical to distinguish between criminal allegations and commercial disputes. The conflation fuels perception, and perception can overshadow fact in public discourse. In a reputation battle, every detail becomes ammunition. Let's zoom out and consider the psychological dimension. High-profile relationship, cameras documenting vulnerabilities, fertility stress, financial investment, public scrutiny, cast commentary, social media magnification. Under those conditions, ending a relationship is not just personal, it's public. And when the person who leaves asserts that decision clearly, it shifts the power dynamic. Saying, "I left," communicates boundaries. It communicates agency. It rejects passive framing. But asserting agency can trigger defensive responses from those invested in a different storyline. Because if the narrative becomes "he walked away," that changes sympathy flows. It alters audience perception. It reframes who holds power. And power, especially in ensemble reality TV, is currency. The reunion looms as the final battleground. Reunions are not neutral forums. They are structured events shaped by production, editing, and performance. Who speaks uninterrupted? Who is challenged? Which clips are replayed? All of that influences perception. Will Kirk's perspective be presented fully? Will Quad expand on her experience? Will Dr. Heavenly address the tonal shift? Or will editing solidify an already emerging arc? In reality television, truth competes with storytelling, and storytelling often wins. This situation highlights something larger than one breakup. It underscores how narratives are formed, protected, and amplified within reality TV ecosystems. Core cast members often benefit from established loyalty networks. Peripheral figures, especially romantic partners, can become expendable when conflict arises. If a partner disrupts the central storyline, the ecosystem may reframe them accordingly. Kirk's public statements were brief. He did not release a long exposé. He did not conduct interviews. He did not reveal private details. He asserted one core message: he chose to leave, and that alone sparked backlash. Sometimes the simplest statements are the most disruptive. So, what are we actually witnessing? Is this a case of fame-hungry outsider attempting to control attention? Or is it a man who invested financially, emotionally, and publicly, who endured high-pressure fertility struggles, defended his partner during conflict, and ultimately decided the relationship was unsustainable? The truth likely contains complexity on both sides. Relationships rarely collapse for one reason alone. IVF strain, lifestyle differences, public scrutiny, and unresolved compatibility questions can all intersect. But one thing is clear: controlling the narrative after a breakup is a powerful move, and resisting that control can trigger reaction. Business disputes happen every day, especially in high-value industries. Conflating civil litigation with criminal wrongdoing is misleading. When you step back and connect everything, here's what emerges. King entered the relationship. He accommodated IVF despite it not being his initial priority. He made significant financial contributions. He defended his partner publicly. He expressed documented concerns on camera. He never blindsided anyone. He said clearly, "I left." And once he said that, the narrative shifted. He became attention-seeking. His motives were questioned. His prior praise disappeared. That's not accidental. That's ecosystem behavior. King's message has remained consistent. I left. Keep my name honest. Don't use your friend. Those aren't chaotic statements. Those are controlled, direct clarifications. The reunion hasn't aired yet. Maybe we'll get more clarity. Maybe both sides will fully speak. But based on documented timelines, on-camera statements, and observable reactions, King does not look like a villain. He looks like a man who reached his limit in a relationship under immense pressure. And sometimes walking away doesn't make you the bad guy. Sometimes it just means you're done. If you made it this far, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think King is being treated fairly, or is there a narrative being protected? Hit like if you want more deep dives where we analyze instead of react. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.